Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Jason Everett from the High Performance Salon Academy, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Nick Stenson. And if you do not know Nick Stenson, by the way, where are you today, Nick? What part of the world
I'm
are
in
you?
Chicago. I'm actually in my office in Chicago today.
In your office in Chicago, my second favorite city. I mean, I like to live here, but Chicago's pretty beautiful. What's the weather like for you out there?
Well, it was storming all day, but now the sun's come out, so it's a good day.
Awesome. Well, good day to have you on. And again, for those of you guys who don't know Nick, Nick and I met, gosh, man, we met, I don't know how many years ago. We were doing an event with Matrix, and you're still with Matrix, right?
I am, yeah.
Doing some stuff with Matrix. But you've had this amazing career path where you've been involved with all the, over almost 900 salons over at JCPenney, 10,000 stylists. You've been involved with, now you're the chief artistic director, did I get that right, at ULTA Beauty?
Yes, that's correct.
Right, so you work a little bit with ULTA. You've owned multiple salons, and you've been involved in celebrity, styling, fashion, all kinds of things for how many years? How many years you been doing this, Nick?
It's just hit 20.
Dang, man, that's so cool.
Not old.
I'll let it go. But here's the deal. I've got Nick for some time right now, and if you guys have questions for Nick, do me a favor and pop them in, because we're doing this Lessons with Legends interview, where I bring you people who are from all over the world that have done some amazing things in the industry, and I think Nick is one of those people. By the way, Jeffrey, hey, Jeffrey. Jeffrey just popped up. He said, two of my favorite people, Jason and Nick. Well, what's up, Jeffrey? Good to see you, man. Glad to have you on. But, Nick has done some really cool things for the industry. He gives constantly, and that's what I really love about you, Nick, is you give some really cool stuff. So I want to find out a little bit about you, and if you guys have questions for Nick, do me a favor, throw them in the comments section below, and we'll jump into it. But before we do, I got to talk about the biggest thing that I've heard that you've done lately that got my eyeballs to pop out of my head. Because I think when people do celebrity stuff, it's always really cool. But I was watching, and I heard word on the street /Facebook/ the universe and your TV interviews and all these things is that you were actually at this year's Super Bowl, and you were on the creative team, and you worked with a team that did the work for frickin' Lady Gaga. How cool is that?
No, it was a great experience. It was one of those things where you stop in the middle of it and you go, wow, I'm really here. It's really happening. It was a really great experience.
That is absolutely amazing. I mean, I know you had a whole team of people. I'm sure she's got a team of people. I can't imagine she doesn't move without like 1,000 people around her to make things happen. But you were part of that
crew around her, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And I think a lot of people, I talk to a lot of stylists, Nick, that are always very interested in doing like celebrity stuff, but they don't know how to do it, whatever. What would you say that's different about working with celebrities and working with a normal guest kind of inside a salon? If you had to say like, what makes that unique? Is there something that makes that special and unique? Or like, does everybody like green M&Ms, with the M's turned upside down or something? Like, what's that like?
It's a totally different experience. When you're working with a guest in the salon, it's all about the one-on-one interaction, really making sure that the guest feels special while they're sitting there. You have a great consultation, you give a great service, they leave, they refer friends, they come back again, and it kind of just keeps repeating itself. And it's a special moment between you and one person. When you're working with a celebrity, you're working with the celebrity's team, right? So there's, like, for instance, when I worked with Lady Gaga, I didn't directly work with her, I worked with her creative team. Right, that is surrounding her every single day. So she has her own hairdresser who works with her every single day, and all of the hair guidance came from that person. And then there's wardrobe people, and there's styling. There's an army of people around them, and there's a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest thing you have to do is be patient, because there are so many moving parts. There's so many critical moments. Every second counts. Every minute counts. Every rehearsal is critical. And it really takes an army to put on something as fabulous as a halftime show. Yeah.
I can only imagine. So, dude, that was very cool. It got my attention and made me want to reach out and connect with you, because I think, anybody who is doing cool stuff like that, working with ULTA, working with these huge chains, working with one of the largest, manufacturers on the planet, working with Matrix and part of L'Oreal family, like it's a lot of big stuff. And Nick, you also do some really cool things, and we'll get into it as we go. But I want to talk about all these cool things that you're doing right now. But do you mind giving me like, what's the 2-minute history of Nick? I mean, I think that people who don't know you, I know, and like 2-minute history, right? But like, how'd you get into this? Why do you love the salon industry? Like, what is it about the industry that really gets you excited and fired up? And how did you get here?
Yeah, it's not a straight and narrow road, that's for sure.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the reality of it. And I'll tell you, I grew up in the beauty industry. My mother owned a salon as I was a child. I went every day after school to her salon. I cleaned the salon and swept hair and stocked shelves and checked out people and did all that kind of stuff as I did my homework. Never really thinking I'd ever be in the beauty business. I mean, my goal was to be an orthopedic surgeon. I had 2 full scholarship opportunities to go into college, to go into medicine. I was working in an emergency room on an ambulance overnights, and then I'd wake up in the morning and I'd go in the salon and I'd help my mom all day long in the salon. So life was very crazy and very different. And I think when it really hit me was I worked a graveyard shift on an ambulance, and it was kind of like a grueling night. There was a lot of like car accidents and things, and people died, and it was a rough night. And then the next morning, I had to go in the salon and help my mom on a Saturday. And I remember being in that salon and looking around and going, wow, like everybody's having such a good time. And my mother's changing lives, because I used to see people like walk in with their head down and really kind of just like gloom and doom, and they'd walk out happy and their head up high. And I thought, wow, she's building confidence in people, and that's really powerful, and that does change people's lives. And the power that she had in connecting people together, like there were people who came into my mother's salon that booked their appointments around the same time because they became friends, and by coming to the salon, and they wanted that time together as like friends in the salon. And then they were a friend of my mom's. You know, I mean, my mother's clientele was an extension of our family for years, and I thought, wow, that could be really interesting. And I decided to, go into hair more and more and just start picking it up and doing it. And I'll never forget the first day I and brushes and scissors, and I just started going. And I remember my mom looking at me one day and said, I knew you could do it. And I said, yeah, but where did I learn how to do it? Like, and she goes, I don't know, maybe your whole life just staring at me, watching me do hair, you've picked it up. And that's kind of how it got kicked off. And then of course went to formal training and all that. But that's really how it began. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you may have told me pieces of that before, but it was kind of fun to hear it, from that perspective, and just to really see that vivid image from being like in the ambulance, like doing all that stuff and being like, this is chaos, versus like, I just make people feel happy, good, etc., and let them feel really good about what they're doing. So, dude, thank you for sharing that. And I want to find out, like, Nick, in the industry of being in salons, I mean, our mission at High Performance Salon Academy is really about, like, I think the salon industry gets a bad rap in the business community. I think people, they look at the salon industry as like a second-class citizen, and I think that's wrong, because to exactly your point, people change lives, they have amazing experiences, and when you meet people, one of the first things you see is how they look, what their hair looks like, and like getting people to feel good about that, I think, is one of the most worthy business, one of the oldest professions in the world, and I think it's so powerful when salon owners can change people's lives, like what you just talked about. What are some of the things for you, Nick, that you see that are problems in the salon industry that you set out to change, that you want to see different? Because I feel like you have this whole different ethos about you than the average hairdresser or salon owner. So what is it that you see differently than the rest of the world?
Jason, for me, it's always been like elevating this industry. To your point, there's so many people that don't take it serious. There's so many people that don't look at it as a career. When I talk to friends of mine that are, on Wall Street, or they're doctors or things like that, they kind of look at it as they're like, oh, it's cute, it's fun. I'm like, wait a minute, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's more than cute. Yeah. And I think for me, there's so many hairdressers that got into this industry and didn't have support behind them. I was very fortunate. I had my parents' full support. I had my family's full support. I came from a family of barbers and beauticians and hairdressers, so it was cool in my family, right?
So that's not normal, right? That's not
normal. It's not normal. There's a lot of people that didn't get the support from their family or their friends going into this industry, so they kind of got in this industry and floundered a little bit and just kind of found their way, and in many cases found their way to something pretty amazing, right? And realized that they didn't have to listen to people that were naysayers, because they created an amazing income, amazing living, amazing life for them and their families. Right. And I think for me, it's elevating awareness, elevating credibility, elevating perception, and really adding a little class to the industry as well. I think that's something that we definitely need. I think that if we want to be taken serious, we have to act serious. I think if we want to be taken serious, we also have to, perform at a very serious level and show the professionalism behind what we do. Because I don't believe that this is a job. I believe it's a career. I believe that we do change lives. I do believe that it is a craft that not everybody can do. It is a skill set. I believe it's a God-given skill set, and then it could be honed in. But I definitely think it is something that you have to feel passionate at the core. I mean, you're standing there and you're physically touching somebody to change the way they look. I mean, if you think about that, the only other person that can do that is somebody in the medical industry. Yeah. So you have tremendous amount of power in the relationship that you build with a guest, the connection that you build with a guest, and the impact that you have on their lives. I think of people who have sat in my chair through the years that have been school teachers, lawyers, celebrities. They worked for maybe the garbage company, you know what I mean? Like all different walks of life. But what they all wanted to do is feel good about themselves. So it didn't matter if they were a high-performing executive in a company or somebody that was a stay-at-home mom and took care of their family. It was about them wanting to feel good about them. And my responsibility and our responsibility in this industry is to make the people that sit in your chair feel special. And when they walk away, they feel like they have a little bit more confidence to do whatever they want to do in their life. And they feel as beautiful as they can possibly feel.
Yeah, well said, man. I think that's a big part of it. I mean, absolutely. And what kind of things, Nick, like how do you help people, to that point of that connectivity and work with people? I mean, you've worked with, literally hundreds and hundreds of salons and stylists and all these people across, multiple markets and platforms. Like, what are some of the solutions that you see that help people the most to feel confident when they're working behind the chair? Or for we work with a ton of salon owners. Like, what would you say is kind of your message that goes a little bit different? Because you have such a unique perspective and difference of working with so many celebrities and the brands that you've worked with and whatever. What are the things that you see that really are needed? What are the needs that if salons had, they'd be even greater at?
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm fortunate enough now with ULTA Beauty, I, oversee creative direction for 1,000 salons, right?
Right. Just a couple.
And growing, which is kind of crazy, the number of salons, right?
Yeah, totally.
Thousands and thousands of hairdressers and service providers, and I'm over skin as well. So when you look at our estheticians, and I think a few things. I think what I'm most proud about for ULTA Beauty, and I know I could say this for Matrix as well, is that both of our companies stand for driving through education, right? And really giving the tools that are needed to be successful behind the chair. We're empowering hairdressers at both companies to really be the best that they could be. Yeah. And I really feel like people like myself and other industry leaders and educators out there, it is our job to pass along what we have learned throughout the years so that you have the next generation of success and the next generation of success. And I really believe that in order to keep it in life, you have to give it. And you have to give all of your knowledge. And if you hold it and you leave this earth with all that knowledge and all that wealth of life and you don't share it with somebody else so they can have the same, then that's kind of a life not well lived. Yeah. And I really believe that whether you're a salon owner out there, whether you're a stylist or whatever, you have to invest in yourself. The companies need to invest in you that you work for because you want to feel valued, right? So I know that when I talk to our stylists around the country, they feel like, wow, this company really cares about me. We're a big corporation. So the scary part about a big corporation is, they don't care, right? They're just a big corporation. But the truth of the matter is the heart and soul of our company is our service providers. Yeah. So, we want them to feel that we're behind them to support them because we don't want to just give them a job. We want to build them a career. We want them to know that they can start their career here and expand it all the way to their retirement and that we have tons of career opportunities for them. And I think that's what more companies are doing right now is investing in their people to make them feel like, hey, you have the power of us behind you. Whether you're a little independent salon or you're a big chain salon, it's investing in your people. It's making them feel valued. And then in return, the people that work in these salons, they need to invest in themselves, which shows that, they really are investing in their guest. Because at the end of the day, when I think of just our company as ULTA Beauty, at the end of the day, our goal is two things. We want to invest in our people so that it's the best place to work. And we also want to invest in our guests so that they know that they're going to get the best experience from anywhere else that they're going to go. So it's a pretty simple model when you think about it. It's twofold. It's the guest in the service provider, but it's really about making them feel good. At the end of the day, people want to feel good. There's a lot of noise in the world right now.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of things that don't make you feel good. Like watching the news is not going to make you feel good. For the most part, scrolling through your Facebook feed is not going to make you feel good. Right. I mean, that's the deal. And by the way, if you think there's a lot of negative noise, do me a favor in the comment section, say negative noise. Because I think to your point, Nick, is there's so many things out there that contribute to people being chaotic and negative. And it's amazing when you step in the world of a salon, like how much that can change your life, right?
It can. And also technology is such a big player in our life right now, right? And we're connected through, I'm connected with you through technology.
I know, right? Chicago, California, like it just happened. Boom. I mean, granted, we had tech hiccups, but you know.
Okay, that's all right. But what's cool is like the technology should be the support function to life, not the function of life. So when you think about it, the hairdresser is the one thing that technology hasn't figured out how to replace, right?
Right. I'm not putting a vacuum on top of my head and magically getting a haircut yet.
No, that's never going to be good. But that connection that you have, that physical connection with somebody, when you can really have that conversation and you have that one-on-one experience and there's that transformation process that happens, is so unique and so special. And let's face it, you can't get it through technology. So that's the one thing that people love about being in a salon is that feeling of community, that feeling of connection, the one-on-one personal connection you have with another person.
Yeah, well, and to your point, I mean, in a technologically driven world, it's a rarity. You know, I get asked a lot. Maybe I would ask you to weigh in on this. I get asked a lot about talking to millennials. Right? Is there like, you know, there's a lot, especially in a business, you know, a lot of people are brand new millennial employees and they're like, they just don't get it. You know, they're on their phones, and they just don't know how to communicate with people. And they're, you know, a lot of times they're in that mode where they think about what they want to respond and they text it and they respond. So like in a one-on-one conversation, it can get a little awkward or it can just be like, well, this is very uncomfortable very quickly. Things get misconstrued, etc. Is what have you found about salons that have either helped or harmed inside this millennial experience? Like, I hate to even use the word, everybody always talks about it, but what have you seen that play out in a salon space with millennials and that connectivity? Like, what, I don't know. I mean, I got a question somewhere around there, but what have you seen with that?
Yeah, I think it's a few things. I think sometimes we use the millennial thing as a crutch, you know, for change, right? It's change. And people who've been in business for a long time and are used to doing business one way, change is really difficult. So what we need to realize is no matter where you are in your career, no matter what generation you're from, how do we coexist? So the millennial wants to live on their phone and their device, and they want to text back and forth. But maybe a baby boomer wants to get up and come out of their office and come to your office and sit down and have a conversation over coffee, right? So it's how do we coexist? And I think it's not so much like how do we figure out the millennial as it's how do we coexist as a community of people coming from very different places in their life. And when you think of a salon, like it's interesting because there might be a hairdresser that's been in the business a week and a hairdresser that's been doing it for 35 years. Right. Well, there's very different skill sets. There's very different communication. There's very different way of attracting a guest to come into the salon. You know, you might have somebody who's been in the business for a long time that feels like I need to go to a restaurant and introduce myself to the waiters and waitresses and tell them to come to my salon. And, you know, that's how they're going to get the client. And then you'll have a millennial who will say, you know what, I'm going to take a picture of my work, upload it on Instagram, and hashtag the world. And that's how I'm going to get my client.
Which works amazing, by the way, if you know how to do it. Yeah.
But the funny part, Jason, neither are wrong.
Agreed.
They're just different.
Yeah.
So it's about how do we figure out how to appreciate our differences and cohabitate and work at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think if people took a minute to figure that part out, you have amazing success.
Yeah, well said. Which, by the way, since you mentioned Instagram, I might as well put your Instagram link up there so everybody can see it. But yeah, make sure you follow Nick on Instagram. But I think to your point, Nick, is that idea that it's not about us versus them. It's about or right versus wrong. It's just about how do you use the technology. Now, I see salons all the time where there's somebody who, you know, a millennial that's teaching somebody who's older how to start using social media so they don't have to, you know, pound pavement and go find people at the grocery store that can go, you know, create that sort of relationship to get people to come into the salon. And I think it is, like you said, it's about how do you utilize the strengths of both and how do you educate, cross-pollinate, share those ideas so that, you know, maybe that millennial can learn how to meet people on the street to come into the salon, and the baby boomer can learn how to use Instagram, start promoting their work that they've never used before, and it really makes a huge difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Gino's on. Gino said truth. Amen, brother. Gino threw it out there. But yeah, if you guys love what Nick is saying, do me a favor in the comment section below, say love Nick. I want to make sure that we're on the same page. And I think it really, Nick, you hit it on the head, man. That cohabitating piece is really, really key, I think, for a lot of people. And I don't think that everybody gets that, you know. And I want to find out, like, Nick, for you, what are the things that drive you, that like make you tick as a person, that gets you really fired up? Like, what drives you to do? I mean, because you could just do whatever, but you choose to do bigger, better, more awesome all the time. Like, what drives you? What gets you fired up, if you don't mind saying?
Well, I'll tell you, the expectation I hold on everybody else is always going to be less than the expectation level I hold on myself, right? So I'm just crazy filled with determination, and determination for a bunch of different things. And I think for me in this industry, I think there's so much potential still for the industry. I think there's so much more we could do with this industry. I think it needs to be a little bit revolutionized too. So I think there's a lot of room around taking it to the next level as well. And I love being a part of this industry. I love when I see that light bulb go off for somebody who's a hairdresser or an esthetician or a makeup artist or a nail tech, when they're like, oh, I just learned something, and they feel really good and proud of themselves. Like, I never get sick of that feeling. I never get sick of the feeling that myself or my teams or my organizations around that I'm associated with are impacting people's lives and giving them the ability to be better at what they do and to be the best that they can be. So for me, it's just, I'm always determined. I just never run out of determination. I don't know why, but I don't.
Yeah, well, what do you think it takes? I mean, I think, Nick, I think to a certain extent, you and I are cut from a similar cloth of, like, the best is never best. No, I think it's part of that. But what would you say is there like a mantra? Is there something that you operate from that really allows you to drive or to raise the level of expectation for yourself and those around you? Is there anything that you use to help you drive that?
It's funny. I heard a quote very early on my career, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know what really that means. And then one day I woke up and realized, wow, that's the truth. And it's successful people do all the things unsuccessful people aren't willing to do.
Yeah, totally.
And there's so much truth to that. It's like when I hear people say, well, I can't do it, or it doesn't work for me, or it just is never going to happen. You're in your own way. I really believe that. You're in your own way. And trust me, I haven't cracked the nut on life and figured it all out. But what I have figured out is that you can't stop. You can't give up. You don't have the option of giving up. You don't have the option of stopping. You don't have the option of stop learning. And you don't have the option to stop helping other people. And I think once you realize that, you just keep growing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. It's simple, I think.
Yeah, I love it. I love the simplicity of what you said and just the elegance of it. I think if it's simple and elegant, it gets done. And I think that people overcomplicate and they get in their own way and they start talking themselves out of it, no matter what industry you're in, right? Whether it's in the salon industry, it could be anything. To your point, if you're doing anything in life, if you get in your own way or you start talking yourself out of it, you're done. Right, and that becomes the game. So awesome, Nick. Well, dude, a couple of things. First of all, thank you for being willing to do this with me. I'm very grateful. I mean, from us meeting each other how many years ago? It's been like 6 or more. I don't even know. It's been a while now.
It's been a while.
For a bit. But I just want to say, if you guys are interested in finding out more information about Nick Stenson, a great dude. He's got a YouTube channel you can check out. I'll put it up on the screen here too, so you guys have it. But you can go to youtube.com/Nick Stenson Beauty. I don't know if you have to put the user piece in there. You guys figured it out. It's up on the screen. Just search Nick Stenson on YouTube. Sorry, I almost said Facebook and Instagram and then YouTube. But you can find him that way. You can find Nick on pretty much every social media channel possible under the sun. And one of the things I love that you do, Nick, from a video perspective, is you do something called Fast Tip Friday. Are you still doing Fast Tip Fridays? You've been doing those?
I actually haven't done it in a while because I'm revamping some of the content and things that I do.
Cool.
It's funny. Some new stuff coming out. It's interesting. That started off as just a fun idea, and I didn't really think anybody really cared about it. And then all of a sudden, when I stopped doing it, people were like, I really looked forward to watching that. And I really, even though I never left a question, I really wanted to know more. And I always look forward to Friday to seeing what you had to say. So it's coming back.
Cool. So if you guys want to see more tips from Nick and you want to see Fast Tip Friday, do me a favor and throw some encouragement down in the comments section and say more Nick vids in the comments section. And I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the people I already acknowledged by popping their comments on the screen. But Lynn, thank you so much. Summer, thanks for playing along and being a part of this. I didn't put all the comments up, but I put a few of them as they came in. And I just want to make sure you guys learn from these amazing industry experts. I mean, not only is Nick somebody who's done really cool celebrities and worked with some amazing people, who's been on Modern Salon, American Salon, and Nick, you seem to be the guy who gets sucked in TV shows on a regular basis, and people really like what you do, but it's obvious because your attitude and your energy for the industry is infectious. And I just want to say thank you for being that way, because I think there's a lot of people who just kind of have like a job type of attitude, and I know you don't have that. If you were to lead people with one piece of advice you would say about how to make the industry more amazing, what would that piece of advice be for anybody watching this, whether they were in the salon industry or not? What piece of advice would you leave them? I know I threw you like a monkey wrench question, but what would the one piece of advice be that you'd want to give them?
I think it would be hard to give you just one, but I'll give you a couple.
Give me 15, but give me one.
I'll give you a couple. First is never stop learning. Never stop learning. I don't care if you've been in the business 50 years. Funny story, last week I was at a training, and this one stylist, she was 82 years old, and she was so excited. She says, I was thinking of retiring, but now with all this new stuff, I think I'm going to stick around. And I looked at her and I was like, you're pretty amazing. I want to be you. So 82 years old and still wanting to learn. And I think that's why she looked like she was 60, and she had energy of a 25-year-old because she's full of life. And I think it comes down to that. Never stop learning. Always make sure to help other people. Make sure that the way that you present yourself and the way that you present your work is in a way that you want people to remember you by. And social media, you have to remember that's your new business card. So you're not handing out a piece of paper anymore to tell people to call you. You're doing it all through some sort of an app out there that people are watching what you're doing. So I would just say that don't only post beautiful work that you do, but make sure that the life that you're living is a life that people want to follow and is something that people respect. Because if you want respect, you have to show that you are respectful of yourself. So I think it's really important to respect yourself and show everybody that, and then invest in yourself and invest in the people around you. Because let's face it, nobody gets to the top on their own. It takes a village of people to help you succeed. So remember the people that have been a part of your journey, and remember to take care of them too.
Dude, well said. And I, for a lot of you guys that are watching this right now, do me a favor and say Nick rocks one more time in the comments, because Nick, I like literally writing them down as you go. I'm like, these are really good. I love social media as your business card. I love being, have a life worth living that you'd want to follow. That's super good. Also investing in yourself. And again, we work with a lot of people who do that in our High Performance Salon Academy. So if you guys want more information about our High Performance Salon Academy, I'll at least plug that and put that out there too, is make sure you go on to highperformancesalon.com, and this interview will be posted there. So you can see this interview if you only caught the end of it and you want to go back and watch the whole thing. So Nick's full interview will be posted on that website, as well as where you can get other great information about how you can personally grow your salon or grow your business. And a lot of you guys know I not only work with salons, but we work in other areas. So if you want more information, feel free to check out any of the websites that we have that'll help you grow your business. Nick, it has been a total blast having you on. You're always a great dude. I wish I lived in Chicago and we could hang out more often. And I know I've been to Chicago a couple times and we haven't been able to connect, but dude.
One of these days, we're going to meet for a drink and catch up.
I know, man. It's so good to see you and so awesome to see what you do for the industry. So, man, thank you for being here. Thank you for making this possible. I know you got a meeting to run to, so thanks for making this happen. Have a great week. And, dude, as always, a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
All right, man. See ya. Bye.